welcome to another edition of 60 Minutes with Mother Nature. I'm excited to be back. I'm back in Jamaica again, and just want to say that I had a wonderful time being in the U.S., traveling a number of states, and getting the chance to share. Um, you know, looking at different plants from all over. Want to really thank those who really shared with us during our time of bereavement. Um, you know, you know, it was really tough one. All right, Linda. Good morning, Linda. Greeting, Chair C. All right, so it's good to be back, guys. As I was saying, that I really had a pleasant experience traveling um, in the last couple of weeks and doing some of these 60 minutes videos from outside of Jamaica. But we are back, and I wanted to get right back to business. Um, we do have the chart here. So in the last video that I had, we started going through the chart. And we were looking at the dual nature. We were in the middle of the circle. We were looking at the dual nature of life, the fact that life has a balance, and today we're gonna ID some plants. But if you're just joining us for the first time, I want to welcome you. Want to let you know that we do have a community, the KINDAH Wellness community, that we'd love for you to be a part of. We have so much exciting things coming up, and you'll hear about that, guys. Those of you that are members already, you hear about that. But today, I want to actually start to see members of the group. As I said, that this is not a group for persons who are spectators. We're looking for persons who are participants. And so by now, most persons would have gotten their charts. If you haven't gotten your charts, there's a link in the description below. You're gonna need this chart and you're gonna need your diary. Sadly, I don't have one with me. But today I'm actually going to start recording the plants in my local. So the whole goal is to help you to create your own herba medica of all the plants around you that are medicinal. All right. And so I want to get my book and I want to start doing that. I don't have my diary with me. And hi, Monica. We want to see you start. I want to see persons starting to post, give us an update. I want to see persons starting to post and update us as to how many plants have you gone out of your 120 plants. So the goal is to help 12,000 persons to learn 120 plants by December. All right, that's the goal. And we want to look at the plants that are in your immediate surrounding, that are in your immediate circle. And if you have the diary, I'll do a video on the page of the diary, just going through the different headings and showing you just how to do that. All right, but we want to start IDing the plant. As you can see, guys, right now the world is in a very volatile state. Don't believe that the volatility that is happening in Israel won't escalate. Morning, Georgia. Things are going to get a little sticky. So a lot of the normalcy that we know, the food normalcy and the medication normalcy, is going to be interrupted, I believe, from what is happening. And so a lot of persons who are not seeing the importance of what we're doing are going to see it. And sadly, for some persons, it's going to be too late. What we want to do is we want to be able to identify all the medicinal plants. Yes, Georgia, the link is in the description. If you want to get a diary, the link is in the description. All you have to do is to click that link and it brings you straight to Amazon and you can get your diary. All right. Also, I want to let persons know that outside of the KINDAH Wellness community, there is a Boston Institute of Natural Medicine. If it is that you would want to... Oh, Kira. Hi, Kira. I saw your message. I haven't listened to it as yet. As soon as I jump off this live, I see your voice note. I'm going to get through to it. And I saw a message from Chair C. I see a message. Haven't got through to it yet. But as soon as I jump off the live, I intend to go through your message and a few others. I'm excited about today because we're going to actually start looking at some herbs. So the goal is to help 12,000 persons learn 120 herbs by the 12th month. So far, we have about 83 persons in the group. So we have 11,000 and odd persons to add to the group. So let's go into it. All right, so today we're going to look at some herbs, and some of them you would have seen them already. But today I'm going to start documenting. I'm going to start documenting herbs, and then after documenting herbs, it's not just to document herbs. And by the way, I should say, how do we go about documenting herbs? If you remember, we go about documenting the herbs by, first of all, identifying those herbs that we see most frequently occurring in our setting. All right. No, I didn't have any on my jar. Not yet. I've ordered somebody, I haven't reached us yet. I've ordered some for persons who are not so tech savvy, so they're coming. Hey Levi, how you doing? So just send this link out, just send this share out to some guys, please. Share this link now with some more persons. We have 9 persons on now. We're going to be looking at some herbs in a little while. Do you think there's anybody else that will benefit from what we're doing? Send this link now. Just send a link out to about 2 persons that you know would benefit from today's live. So today we're going to actually start looking at herbs. I'm going to actually start document. So here ends after, I'm going to be able to start tell persons how far I am as it relates to the herb on this property. And it's funny because I'm thinking about traveling again. As a matter of fact, I don't want to say anything much about that because I'm not 100%. I'm praying about it. I'm looking at what is happening and I'm praying about it. But yes, I was slated to return to the US this Saturday. I'm praying about it a lot. I'm praying about it. But I'll share it with the family. What is it I intend to do? I didn't finish my leg of travel. I didn't go to New York. I didn't finish working in Maryland. So in terms of getting those videos out, in terms of doing those herb walks. So I really want to do that. My admin team is in New York. Big shout out to Ayaba and Kalia who helped to keep this group together. They're in New York, and I really look forward to meeting up with them and doing some herb walk with them. Big up Kalia and big up Ayaba. All right, so some of the herbs that I'm going to be looking at today are actually herbs that you would have seen me feature already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feature those herbs. But how is it that we go about it is that we start recording the herbs that we see most frequently occurring to us, because we believe that these herbs are frequently occurring to us for a reason, because most of the times these herbs are going to be beneficial to somebody that would affect those of us that are here. All right, so let's start that this morning. And the last time I did say so, at some point I'm gonna take some time out to just talk about the middle of the circle, and maybe I should do that before I go into the looking at the herbs to give some more people time. All right, so in the middle of the circle, and this is our 12 medicinal herb taste guide. From this chart, we are able to determine the medicinal use of any plant, because every plant is made up of medicines, and the medicines have a taste or they have a texture. And so if you are able to identify the different taste of these plants, it gives you a very good idea as to the medicinal or the major plant constituents of the herb because a plant will contain many different substances, but the major active ingredients in the herb, it will tell you what are some of the main functions of the herb. And so in the last video, we looked at the yin and the yang, we looked at the duality of life, and we said from that video that anything that can help you can harm you. And so when we talk about herbs, nobody should ever take any herb without under the supervision of a healthcare provider, somebody who can guide them. Because many times, or in all cases, anything that can help you can also harm you. And anything that can harm you can also help you, because that is the dual nature of life. And so we talk about the plants that people say are poisonous, and we help people to understand that there is no such thing as a poisonous plant. What we have are really powerful plants. The reason why they are considered to be poisonous plants is because they are powerful, and so if they're not taken in very, very, very small dosage or in very careful dosage, the results can be toxic. And so if taken in the proper dosage, those toxic plants are actually powerful plants. Those poisonous plants are actually powerful plants. And so it is the same of even the prescription medication. One of the reasons why in the pharmaceutical industry, they are so keen on dosage is because they are very powerful drugs. And so if the dosage is not followed, then the result can be poisonous. All right, so that is just the dual nature of life. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the second circle. And in the second circle, we're looking at the elements, the 4 elements. And what our ancestors did is our ancestors attached to these 4 elements plant characteristics. And so what we want to look at is the 4 major characteristics, which is water, air, fire, and earth. I want to start with air first, because air ascends, air goes up, air is erect, and the opposite of air is earth. So earth goes down. And so any energy, any plant energy that goes up is linked to air. Any plant energy that goes down is linked to earth. And I'll explain a little bit more. So what our ancestors realized is that during the seasons of spring, there are some plants that convey the energy of spring, which is an upward energy, which is an energy that is active. And so during spring, everything is springing up to life. During autumn, everything is going down. And so what are some plants? Plant characteristics? We have what is called acrid herbs. Acrid herbs now are herbs that when you put them in your mouth, they have a very pungent flavor. They allow your mouth to spring water, right? So water springs up out of your mouth. Acrid herbs, cause that. The opposite of acrid herbs is astringent herbs. Now, astringent herbs go down, and astringent herbs draw water out of your mouth. So right now in the US, they are going through autumn where everything is pretty much dry. So let me give you an example. Of an acrid herb. Mustard. Very good example is mustard. If you put the mustard herb in your mouth would begin to salivate. Your mouth would begin to produce fluid. Now, on the chart, once you find the herbs, what you want to find is acrid, right? And you can also look at how it affects the tissue. Acrid herbs relaxes the tissues. It has a cooling effect, and in some instances, a drying effect. So acrid herbs tend to have a cooling effect. So where would you use acrid herbs? You would use acrid herbs where there is dryness. So we can use acrid herbs internally, and I'll give you an example of an acrid herb used externally. Now, how you would know acrid herbs is by tasting them. And the chart also tells you the scientific properties that are responsible, which is terpenes, phenols, alkaloids, flavonoids, and essential oils. I don't know if you can see that, right? So for those persons who want to be a little more scientific, then you can actually look up the name of the phenols, the name of the alkaloids, and that knowledge becomes relevant for those persons who are going to therapeutic care, who want to understand how those chemicals will have contraindication to persons who are taking other medication. But for those persons who are not going down that road, then that is information that you don't have to go into. What you need to know is you want to know the herb, how it affects the tissues. So alkali herbs affects the tissues. So the plant actually tells you how they affect the tissues. So if a tissue was in a dry state, if a tissue was in a tense state and needed relaxing, that is when you would use alkaloid poultice, an alkaloid poultice. So if somebody had muscle tension, what is happening in the muscle is that the muscle is contracting and the muscle needs to relax. Alkaloids herb with that, helps with that. If it is that the person had maybe, let's look at internal now. Let's look at if the person had pain in a particular area, you could use, and it's a burning sensation, then you could use alkaloid herbs to do that. So on the chart, when you're teaching herbs, we always have to teach the opposite. So when you teach any herb that you talk about, any herb that you refer to somebody, you almost always have to talk about the opposite reaction, the herbs with the opposite reaction. Why? Because if it is that, because natural medicine is not very exact. Let us say, for example, you gave somebody a acrid herb. Let's say you gave somebody an acrid herb to achieve a desired outcome, and the person took too much. You also need to know what herbs to use to counter that action, because the goal is to find a balance, right? The goal is to find a balance. So the ear represents herbs that are moving upwards, and the opposite of ear or acrid herbs would be astringent herbs, or the earth, which is moving downwards. And for every one of these tastes, I have 5 examples. So in all, there's 60 different herbs on the chart. 60 different herbs on the chart. The opposite of, so let's look at the other element in the circle. We have fire and we have water. So fire is, in terms of season, is, and fire is hot or fire is warm. And then you have water, which is cool. And so examples of hot herbs would have been, maybe one of the hottest one would have been cayenne pepper, right? Cayenne pepper. And when we look at pungent herbs, it is stimulating, which means it causes, it's a catalyst, it speeds up reaction. It's also diaphoretic, which means that it causes sweating. So if a person was needed to induce sweating, you could use these herbs to induce sweating. It is carminative, so it can calm, especially the stomach. It is expectorant. It dispels moisture, and then it gives it the essential properties. And the opposite of pungent herbs, of course, would be oily herbs, which is on the cooler side. So every time we look at a herb, we look at the opposite. And so this chart is an invaluable tool, because once you begin to study your herbs, now this chart allows you to be able to taste the herb, because that's what our ancestors did. Our ancestors didn't have a lab. What they did was that they tasted the herbs and they sought to identify the most dominant taste or the most dominant texture So from the most dominant texture and the most dominant taste, they were able to determine what was the medicinal use of the plant. And that is just one of the 5 senses. So basically what they use as their 5 senses. Then there is sight, because they would also look for certain colors. They would also look for certain shapes. And these things help them to identify the medicinal use of the plants. So we're going to be using this chart along with our diary to be able to identify some medicinal plants. So let's go ahead now and begin to look at what are some of the more dominant herbs that we see around us. And I'm going to try to do that without losing signal. All right, so I have done some prep work, and so I've removed some of the plants that are more dominant in my setting. So I've actually cleared this roadway in an effort to create a herb trail. But one of the most dominant plants that we have around us, and I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to start with the common names. So one of the most common herbs that we have is bamboo. Bamboo. I mean, bamboo is everywhere on this property. Bamboo is everywhere. It's one of the most dominant herb that we see. So what we're doing now is we're doing an audit. So I want you to begin to do your audit. And then we're gonna write the common name first. Then we're gonna go through, and then we're gonna add the scientific name. Then we're gonna add the family that the herb is from, and we're gonna work our way through the diary. And I'll take I'll do a page on that. So right now I'm looking at the dominant herb. Another herb that we have here is this herb. This herb, very dominant here. As I said, we've looked at it before, so the goal is just to start listing the herbs so that we can go through them. This is actually the show button R this year, so I'm going to write that down. Show button. That's herb number 2 for me. All right, that's herb number 2. Another herb that we have here that is quite popular is that tree that you're seeing. That tree right there, that one right there. We have lots of it. That's one right there. There's another one over there. That tree, this one right here. That's another. It's rose apple, and it's all around the property. Rose apple. Then we have lots of mangoes. That big tree that you're seeing there. This one here, and all of those trees going up. All of those are mangoes. Those are the bigger trees. Let me go up a little further. Another big tree that we have here a lot is what we call in Jamaica stinking toe. Show you. Lots and lots of those. They call them locusts. Anyone of you guys know stinking toe? It's known to be an aphrodisiac. But it's very, very good for the brain. The bark is what is used. Here's another. So here's another That tree that you see falling down, that's another rose apple, along with mango tree. So we have lots of rose apples, lots of mangoes. And I'm going up to a high elevation where we'll be able to see a lot more plants. So these are the plants that we see repeating themselves in nature. These are the plants. All right, so that tree that you're seeing, that this tree right here, this tree, that's a stinking toe, or what we call, that's another one there. That tree right here, that tree is another one. That tree that you're seeing there, this one right here, that's another one. And they proliferate the whole property. And guys, that's one of the tents from Feast of Tabernacle. We're taking that down today. Feast of Tabernacle finished on Saturday, but we're having so much rain that that's the tent that we slept in for. Not Tabernacle, yeah, for the Feast of Tabernacle, for Sukkot. We're in that for Sukkot. So we need to pull that down. That's our Sukkot tent. And you'll hear more about that coming up. So most of the trees that we're seeing here, there's one plant that I'm not idea as yet, which is this plant. This tall tree. This tall one here. This tall tree here. We have lots of it on the property, and it's actually a fruit. It produces a small fruit that tastes like sapod. So we've not been able to ID that one yet, and there's a couple of here. And so what you see repeating itself is bamboos, mangoes, stinking toes, what else? So let me write that down. So we have mangoes, we have rose apples, we have stinking toe. What else? And we have coconuts. And coconut is a root of the coconut is very good for your nerves. For those who didn't know, if you look at the roots, it's very fibrous. It makes an excellent tea, very good for the nerves. So those are the major herbs, major trees that we see. Outside of the trees now, we have shrubs. We have lots of shrubs. And let me take you through looking at the shrubs. So we have lots of fever grass. All right, that grass heap that you're looking at, that grass heap right here, that lump of grass is actually fever grass. Those lumps that you're looking at is actually fever grass, and those are right throughout the property as well. Then we have some fern. We have some ferns that grow here a lot. This is the comb teeth fern. We have lots of those. So let me write it down. Comb teeth fern. Then we have lots of this herb here. Hold on. This herb. This one. It's called Western ironweed. And the root of that is what we use. We have lots and lots and lots of that. Western ironweed. and it's spread right throughout the property. Yeah, not Linda is SHOE. SHOE button, show button. Show button. It's an invasive plant. And I'm just listing what we have. And then what we do is when we start to record them in the diary, each of these herbs get a page in your diary, and so you're able to do a greater recording, a greater recording of the herbs. So right now we're just looking at the common names. I want you to in the group. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 herbs so far that are very prevalent on our in our kibbutz here. I'm trying not to go anywhere where I will lose signal. So those are more fever grass. Lots of fever grass. We also have lots of pineapple. Let me show you those. So those are pineapples, and we have lots of pineapples throughout the property. I'm recording the pineapple, but I shouldn't even record the pineapple because the pineapple did not grow naturally on its own. The pineapple basically was planted, and what we really want to find is those herbs that are found naturally occurring by themselves. So I look at the ironweed. We see lots of other ferns. Another fern that we see is the kalawala. Mark you, we've done some amount of work on the place, on the property, trying to set up the camping site. So this is not the camping site. This is actually where we're gonna erect one of the cottages. That spot that you see there is where we're gonna be setting up our first cottage in honor of Mary Sequel. So that's a cottage that we're gonna put there. That's gonna be named after Mary Sequel's cottage. And you hear more about that as well. But here we have the kalawala. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can get a better view for. Hold on. That's the kalawala. Sometimes a little challenging to be moving around. And that's the kalawala. And we have some of them here, but we have them growing wild in that forest that we see. Right, so this is a shaded area. And there are a lot of herbs that love this shaded area. Inside this area, we have the jackass bitters. That's this herb here. So this is a jackass bitters, or they call it bitter albert. And that's another one there. Um, we have lots of those growing wild here. So let me write that one down. That is the bitter Albert. Whew, it's humid. That's bitter Albert. I'm trying to find what else I can show you that I can show you where if I go I won't lose internet connectivity. All right, so we also have lots of trumpet leaf. Lots of trumpet plant. Those here grows here a lot. We have lots of Chancapiedra, or seed. We call it seed palmback. And we have lots of shame darling. We have a herb that I made a tea from that grows here wild. It's called wow. It grows a purple flower. What's the name of that herb again? It's coming to me, slip me. It grows over there. If I looked at it, maybe I would have remembered it. But so far I have bamboo. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 herbs that are growing around me so far. And the goal is to now get these on the diary, record these on the diary, so that I can begin to have a more intimate knowledge. I can begin to have a more intimate knowledge of the herb. So what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to record your herbs. And after recording your herbs, then so I'll take these, put in my diary, and I will take pictures of them. And in terms of identifying the herbs, though, I should tell you I also use leaf snap, but I can show you how to identify the herbs using the principles of botany. So we're gonna do a workshop on that. So if you didn't have an app, how would you notice? How do you identify if you didn't have the app? But to make it easy, right now we use leaf snap. It's a very accurate herb identification tool, and it helps you greatly in working through and identifying the herbs that are around you. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm gonna stay here for today. So I have 12 herbs that I have identified out of my 120. I'm going to be adding those to the diary. And what you do is, if you're taking pictures of the herb, what you want to do is take a picture of the herb, and then you can go to the image itself, edit the image, and you can save it by number. So you could say herb number 1, herb number 2, herb number 3, and then you can take that numbering system that you use to identify the herb, and you can now add it to your diary. So, and if you took a picture of herb number 1, then you would label it on the page as herb number 1, so that later on you're able to match the image with the information that you have. And so later on you can actually print out those images and you could formally arrange them in a herb book that is unique for your era. So what we want to do with that knowledge is, as I said, when you have identified the herbs, the goal now is to now go through and begin to fill the pages with the details about the herb. What is the medicinal use of the herb? What are the properties of the herb? And so from that, you're able to have a very intimate knowledge of the use of the herbs that are immediately found around you. And so after you finish your 120, you can go on to another 120. It's 240. You can go to another 120, that's 360. And that is how you're able to expand your knowledge base of herbs around you. And not only herbs, but you are also being able to identify those edible plants, so that if it is that you need to forage, if it is that you need to eat food in the wild, you would have a list of edible plants. And then from there, you can go on to creating what you call, not a menu, but a recipe. You can create a recipe book for that, because all that we intend to do. As we identify these organic wild vegetables, the next one thing we want to do is to create recipes from these vegetables, so that we can now dispel the myth of food shortage. All right, so today I'm not going to be long with you. Just wanted to let you know that I'm back, and we start recording this week. And I want to, if you're not yet a part of our group, then please, there's a link in the description to join the KINDAH Well group. If it is that you would want to go beyond just learning herbs for personal uses, we have a college, the Boston Institute of Natural Medicine. It's a self-paced program, so you can join at any time. There's a link in the description that you can register and get going. And if it is that you would like to set up a consultation, there's a link in the description for you to do that as well. And so, is the purple flower vervain? Which purple flower was that? No, the purple flower that I mentioned, no, it is, the purple flower is not vervain, but it's not vervain. Hold on. Yeah, so, but it tastes very nice. In one of my videos, I've the tea that I was drinking, because I've started drinking herbs from my from the property here, and I'll put it in the description what the herb was. All right, but guys, I want to thank you for being on today. Just getting the groove of things. I'm sorry for coming on this late. It was really rain, and I saw a little sunshine, a ray of hope, so I took advantage of that. All right, so I'll update you as it relates to what are my plans for traveling this Saturday. And if you need anything else, then please reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you. All right, bye-bye, guys. See you in our next video. Until next time, please remember that in order to be a good herbalist, you don't need to know a lot of herbs. What you need to know is a lot about the herbs that you know. All right, bye-bye.